Hello, everybody. I'm back again. This time I've decided to do a little retrospective or a little background on some of the issues that the Star League had during the first Star League with the Cameron family in the lead. For this episode, I am reviewing the War of Davion Succession, also known as the First Council War or the Second Hidden War, which unfolded between House Kurita and House Davion from 2725 to 2729. The central issue at stake was the succession of the throne of the first prince of the Federated Suns. Okay, here's an overview of the pivotal conflict. The trouble began when Mary Davion, the first child of Roger Davion Lois Chandler, fell in love with Soto Kurita, the youngest son of Uzeran Kurita, during an embassy to Luthien in 2696. You see, Mary joined the diplomatic corps and was in Luthien, where she met Soto Kurita. They quickly fell in love, and in 2698, they married, with Mary moving to the Draconis Combine and bearing him 3 children: Vincent Kurita, Quintin Kurita, and Chadra Kurita. Fearing that Mary's children will be raised as Kuritas, Prince Roger enacted the Act of Succession in 2700, which forbade Mary or her children from assuming the throne of the first prince. Mary signed this act 2 years later. Further on down the line, in 2715, after Mary Davion Kurita's death, Coordinator Takuro Kurita presented the evidence to the High Council of the Star League that Mary had never signed the Act of Succession. He argued, that Joseph Davion should act as regent until Vincent Kurita was of the rightful age to assume the throne. Their claim was that while Mary had ascended to the Act of Succession, she had abrogated the rights of her children, and that Vincent should be the legal heir to the throne of the Federated Suns. Takuro Kurita's claims were rejected by Joseph Davion, the active first prince, and ultimately led to the War of Davion Succession, one of the few open armed conflicts between member states during the era of the Star League. Please note, the documents produced by Takuro disputing Joseph's claims weren't proved to be forgeries until much later. Okay, to prevent the League from splintering over this issue, First Lord Jonathan Cameron appointed an investigatory committee to examine the matter. He warned that if Joseph died before the decision was reached, he would rule in favor of House Davion. Okay. The war ended with the intervention of Star League, which declared in favor of House Davion. Unfortunately, the conflict resulted in the death of the first prince, Joseph Davion, and revealed a weakness in the strategy of the AFFS. The invasion prompted a hasty counteroffensive on the part of armed forces of Federated Suns, which quickly began to collapse, prompting Joseph Davion to take the field in his Marauder battle mech. The first Prince Joseph took command of the AFS forces on Royal, but during the battle for Barons Harbor, Joseph's mech suffered critical damage and was immobilized. Joseph's ejection system had also failed, quite interesting, leaving him to be captured by the Draconis Combined Mustard Soldiery infantry forces. The DCMS troopers pulled Joseph from the cockpit, forced him to kneel, and then beheaded him. The death of the first prince shattered the AFS forces on Royal, causing them to quickly retreat from the world. Joseph Davion's death and the apparent inactivity of the part of the Star League, as 2 member states openly fought a large-scale conflict, prompted an internal coup within the Star League. The SLDF commanding general, Iglor Fedrosa, attempted to persuade the sister of the First Lord to replace her brother, and when he failed in this attempt, Fedrosa spread rumors of a coup to force the First Lord to act. Ultimately, Fedrosa and a number of other high-ranking Star League officials were executed for treason, and Jocasta Cameron took an active role in governing the Star League. Fedrosa's successor, commanding General Rebecca Fethral, Launch Operation Smother, a 5-division strong SLDF deployment intended to separate the AFS and the DCMS forces engaged in the war and restore order. This was ultimately successful, but the death of Joseph Davion and the length of time that it had taken for the Star League to intervene in the war created great discontent and resentment within the Davion family. Despite the turmoil, the Federated Suns retained Davion as their head of state, ensuring the continuation of Davion leadership for the Federated Suns. In the annals of history, the War of Davion Succession remains a critical chapter marked by political intrigue, family loyalties, and the fate of an entire realm. Now, following the War of Succession, House Kurita had things to think about. They had mixed emotions. Some of the keys were they were disappointed and frustrated. The defeat was a significant blow for House Kurita's ambitions within the Federated Suns. Losing the succession dispute meant they would not have the direct influence over the First Prince's position. Strategic revelation. House Kurita reevaluated its long-term strategic regarding the Federated Suns. They recognized the need for more subtle methods to achieve their goals, such as political maneuvering and covert operations. Tensions increased. The conflicts strained relations between Kurita and Davion. Suspicion and mistrust lingered, affecting diplomatic interactions and military cooperation. Resilience and adaptation. Despite the setback, House Kurita remained resilient. They focused on strengthening their military and intelligence capabilities, preparing for future opportunities. In summary, House Kurita faced disappointment but adapted to the new reality, continuing their pursuit of influence and power in the inner sphere. Now, the War of Davion Succession had significant implications for the other noble houses within the inner sphere. Some more, some less. House Steiner, Lyrian Commonwealth. House Steiner closely observed the conflict as it affected the balance of power in the inner sphere. They maintained diplomatic relations with both House Davion and House Kurita, seeking to capitalize on any weakness resulting from the war. House Merrick, Free Worlds League. House Merrick continued to monitor the situation, recognizing the instability in the Federated Suns could create opportunities for expansion. They cautiously navigated their relationships with neighbor houses, including Davion's and Kurita's. House Liao, the Capellan Confederation. House Liao, being House Liao, saw the war as a chance to exploit divisions within the Federated Suns. They covertly supported various factions, hoping to weaken the Davion government and gain advantage. House Davion, the Federated Suns. The war tested House Davion's resilience and leadership. Despite the victory, they faced internal challenges, including rebuilding and after the conflict, and maintaining unity among their vassals. House Kurita, the Cornus Combine. House Kurita defeat led to introspection. They adjusted their strategies, focusing on subtler methods to achieve their goals within the Federated Suns. The overall impact of this war. First of all, the war highlighted tensions across the inner sphere, affecting alliances, trade, and military preparedness. It underscored the delicate balance of power and the need for constant vigilance among noble houses. In summary, the War of Davion Succession reverberated throughout the inner sphere and beyond, shaping the political landscape from years to come. As a footnote, neither House Davion nor House Kurita would truly trust the Star Leagues from then on. That's what I have for you today. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to do a little bit more research and take a look at the other battles or wars that were started during this time that the Star League was supposed to stop. And I'll be producing them once every 2 months probably. Thank you much. You have a good day.